It's been a long time on phone.
Are we on? Yes, we are. We've got sound.
We got microphones.
Yes, we do.
Let's call the meeting of Golden Township Trustees to order. All please rise and join me in pledging allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Trustee Board.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan. Here. Trustee Real.
Here.
Okay, I want to deviate just a little bit from the schedule. We've got an item, which is 6:30 township, but I want to discuss, consider, take action regarding resolution of intent to accept or award joint request for bids for Berkshire Delaware Township for the collection, transfer, recycling, and disposal of solid waste by independent contractor. And I'd like to make a little bit of a speech and fill the board in with everything that I did on that since our last meeting. And we'll talk about it. It shouldn't take very long. I talked with Tyler Lane, and I told him about the discussion that we had about the 95-gallon recycling containers and how we could get those, and the revised contract had those in them. And you will see the email from Rocky, which listed the number of people that were purchasing a second container for using the 65-gallon containers now. And they will be able to, they can still do that if they want to, or they can go to a 95-gallon container and we'll stay at the every other week time. Tyler felt that the trustees in Berkshire Township would go along with that. And I asked him to work on the terms and conditions of the contract. And he called and talked to Paul Wise, who's the administrator for Genoa Township. And Genoa said that they didn't make any changes in what was in the bid, and that Rumpke signed the bid with the original terms and conditions in it. Even though what we got showed the objections, they didn't stand behind those objections and didn't keep those objections, went with it. And I asked Tyler to call Rumpke and let him know about it, and that was all this afternoon, so it didn't happen. That was what I was talking about before the meeting. The other one I talked to was Kevin Hennessy, and when I told Kevin was making the same comment about wanting to make sure that we kept the price low for those people, because there's some people who are talking about if the price goes up very much, they're going to start burning the trash rather than going with the trash pickup and all the problems associated with that. I told him about the 65 versus 95-gallon containers, and he thought that was great. And with the numbers that were in there, it wasn't much more than 100 for all three townships. You've got
Yeah, it was 79 in Berlin Township, 58 in Berkshire Township, and 13 in Delaware Township.
so there wasn't very many people that are taking advantage of the second container at this point. And so getting a larger container free probably makes sense. And hopefully it'll help to alleviate the problems that we got. That's what I've done on it thus far. And Tyler was working with Paul and the prosecutor and trying to get to Rumpke to get everybody coordinated. I told everybody that Tuesday we have a meeting, and at that time we would like to consider it and take action, really take action on it to move forward. But that's the status of where we're at. Now, if you've got any questions, or if you've got any questions, anybody, I'm open to, maybe I got an answer, or maybe just listen, find out the answer. Anybody want to add anything or question?
You more or less summed it up.
Okay.
If you do that for me, I'll make a motion.
Do you want to make a motion this evening?
Well, it's for the intent, it's not, yes.
no, I don't want to do this until we get the contract the way it's supposed to be. Tony gave me this. And I knew he was gonna have this here. And he was going to have it. I told him probably wouldn't do anything with it until our meeting on Tuesday.
May I make a suggestion, Mr. Chair?
Pardon?
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
So what I would like to do is make the motion, have it seconded, and then table. Because we were supposed to take action on the intent. That way, we've at least heard the motion.
The only problem that I have with it, and I'll bring that up, is right now, the information I've given Ronke is, I'm sure, news to Ronke as far as them using the Delaware County Terms and Conditions as in the Genoa contract. And I'm sure you're gonna go back and check it, figure it all out and all that sort of thing. So what we've got is a contract from them, which is one that's got several objections in it. And those objections haven't been overcome yet. They're agreed to, I think they will be, but they haven't been completed. That's the only concern I've got on it.
Okay, so you're saying you'd rather just,
I would rather wait and do it all on Tuesday after getting the.
but don't we have to do an intent before we actually award?
Okay, we can do this. I don't have a problem. To make a motion.
May I read it?
Yeah, let's read this, yeah. This is not an intent. This is the resolution to award.
Do this one.
That's the one that Tony said we should do now.
Was he thinking we were gonna award it tonight?
No, there is a separate one for Tuesday night.
This says resolution to award the contract for the collection.
And then the next one for Tuesday says approve rather than award.
Okay, so with this wording, I agree with trustee Board, because this is saying that we're intending to award it as it's written or not.
And the concern I've got is the contract we've got isn't the contract.
I get it now. I didn't get it, but I do get it now.
Award the contract for the collection, transfer, recycling, and disposal of solid waste by an independent contractor pursuant to the joint request for bids with Berkshire Township and Delaware Township. Okay, so I'm not seeing how this is distinguished from approve versus award in terms of intentions.
I understand your concern, but he was pretty clear on that, because you questioned that to begin with.
I continue to not have clarity on this.
The other one says approve and adopt. Resolution to approve and adopt the contract.
Well, if this said the resolution to intend to award,
I totally agree.
I agree.
award sounds too similar to approve and adopt.
I'm gonna argue with you on that.
Well,
I can add the word intent in there, for intent.
Well,
what,
but it would be an intent to award as amended.
Right.
when you might as well wait for the contract.
I know, but the problem with waiting is then my understanding is we have to do this intent in a meeting prior to the actual award.
Do you know anything about that?
Honestly, it's been done a few different ways. So you're waiting, you want to wait until you have the finalized contract before you award it? Typically, it's awarded and then we negotiate the contract and then the contract is later approved and signed and goes into effect.
But it doesn't necessarily have, I mean, you could do it a minute before.
Well, my understanding is it had to be,
What's
For how many days?
No, just how we know it's according to our,
what the concern Tony has is only
Special
the
meetings?
dates that were in the bid request. And this would cover us as far as having done something for the time frame that was in the bid request. And so that's what this is for. So I thought we were working with Ronki. I don't think there was any issue with doing it Tuesday, but we can do an intent to award on Tuesday, and then we do the contract on Tuesday. Or take it to the next step. But we don't have we're not looking and voting on the contract that we're gonna vote on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, that's a little bit of a problem to me, I guess, because why would I intend to award something that I haven't reviewed to adopt and approve?
Totally agree.
I mean, maybe there just might just be something statutorily I'm not understanding. That would be the first time, but,
Okay.
if we don't like what's in the contract, we need to get that resolved first.
So here's my thought, having listened to you all, is that it's better to wait and get it right, and then have to do it over, as opposed to doing it wrong and being stuck. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but if there's a time constriction,
We'd have to go out to bid all over again.
yeah, that's where I'm a little bit stuck.
Okay, so you know the issues. What do you want to do?
You first. Okay.
If we make that motion, I would include the intent, and then I would say subject to approval of amendments. Which basically is saying, we're not really agreeing to anything.
But you intend to.
Yeah. Because people can come and they can come and do public comment knowing that we intend to do it. But if we do it, intending to do it subject to,
First amendments, I could do that.
then if we don't like the amendments, then
We don't.
there you go.
And then we would have to fill in this at the cost of X dollars per month
Yeah.
per subscriber.
Now, I'm not totally sure why it's per month, because the payment's actually every 3 months, isn't it? So why is it listed as per month?
How it was specified in the bid. That's
What's that cost?
That's typical for bids, is you give the monthly rate and then it's billed quarterly.
This company has the 2390 already written in. Did one that was blank and one that was 2390?
Okay, so do we want to move on this tonight then?
Yeah, we can move on. Yeah. That's okay. It'll make,
With those adjustments, I don't have a problem.
you wanna read it or?
Sure, I move to approve a resolution to intend to award the contract for collection, transfer, recycling, and disposal of solid waste by an independent contractor pursuant to the joint request for bids with Berkshire and Delaware Townships, subject to board approved amendments.
Second?
Roll first?
Rand,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Fuller,
Yes.
all. I didn't have.
Oh,
And then capture the order that we voted for on that page. Is that good for you?
Yeah, I'm good to go. You guys have any questions?
Thanks for your email.
Of course. Anything does come up, my contact information should be on the email.
Yeah, we have your contact.
All right.
Monday is a holiday. Will you be able to get that done?
Yeah, we'll still be working. Yeah. Our
Meeting's on Tuesday evening, so.
Okay, our council that generally gives those changes put in is on maternity leave, so I'll figure out who to contact. We should have somebody that can help me with that. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Okay, it's now 6:30. I'm sorry about that, but figured it was get that out of the way. And with that, let's open the hearing for BZC case 24-006. As for the Seven Hills of Berlin development plan and its revisions. And we've got a whole bunch of exhibits which we need to accept. There's some more exhibits that need to be accepted, I believe. Did we accept all the way down to 14? Yeah.
Haven't done
We haven't done anything.
Okay.
that.
So with that, I make a motion that we accept, BZC case 24-006, Seven Hills of Berlin, and 14 revisions, with the latest revisions taking precedent over earlier revisions. And as listed on the November 8th, 2024 exhibit list.
So when you say revisions, do you mean exhibits?
Friendly amendment to say exhibits 1 through 14, not revisions 1 through 14.
They're listed here somewhere.
Well, we have two documents, so we had August 27th document.
Yep.
And a November 8th document, so exhibits 1 through 14, not revisions, it's just if you're okay with that friendly amendment. Yeah, with the latter exhibits taking precedence over before.
Absolutely. No, this one.
Yeah.
Exhibit 11 lists the
First 9 exhibits.
okay. And we'll give you that cover because this is exhibit 11, although it says October 8th, 2024. And then November 4th. This says November 8th. And that says October 8th.
Mr. Chair, this says November 8th because this is when it was created, but it's referencing the meeting that was had on October 8th. So that's what it's referencing, this was moved and approved. So that's
And it
the
actually started
discrepancy.
in August 27th.
Yes, that's the discrepancy with the dates. But what we're saying is, it's not revisions, it's exhibits 1 through 14. So as long as that friendly amendment is there, I think that covers all the bases.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I think the motion was okay at both, as stated.
With the friendly amendment to use the word exhibits instead of revisions.
Okay.
You said revisions 1 through 14, but not all of them are revisions.
I
Some of
know,
them are,
and then exhibits.
yeah, that's what I figured.
Okay,
So I second.
call roll, please.
Bullard,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Okay, now we've got the exhibits and we've got the plan, and I believe you want to make a presentation.
Good evening, Sarah Sanders from Paris Planning and Design. I'm here to talk to you about 7 Hills of Berlin. Just to give you kind of a regional context, the site is in the corner of Cheshire and Pike Road. It's north of the Hindu Temple and across the street from Main Post. It's bordered on the west by a railroad. The area that the site is located in is detailed on the comprehensive plan, recommendations for PRD R3 zoning, with lots at a density of 1.8 units per net developable acre with sewer availability, which we do have.
Could you elaborate on what you understand net developable acre to be?
The net developable, is all of the area that is not currently in an easement, a right of way, or existing water bodies on the site.
We agree on that. Thank you.
The general overview of the development, it's a total of, here, let me read that.
And that's.
It's two like 61.
Turn off one of those lights. Because it's a little light.
Yeah. It's 61.0039 acres, with the net developable acres of 47.81 acres. We have a total lots of 88, which gives us a net density of 1.84 units per acre, which is under that 1.5 allowable.
Well, but that's gross density. That's gross density is taking total acreage by total lots. But we do it by net developable acre.
Right, that's the net density. So I
Net
have-
density is 1.84 you have listed, but you just said that you're well under the density requirement at 1.44, but we don't do anything with gross density here.
Sorry, I think you misunderstood. I said the net density is 1.84, which is under the 1.85 allowable.
I think that's what you meant, that's not what you said.
You said 1.44, which is under the 1.8.
That's not what my brain's.
That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm just referring.
I want to make sure we're just on that same page
Yes.
because apples to apples are important. on
Yes,
this,
the net
especially with the
density
easements
is
you guys have.
1.84
Yeah.
under, which is under the 1.85 for allowed. The 88 lots are centrally located, with approximately 23.7 acres of open space that we're using to buffer the homes from the surrounding areas. We have 2 primary acreages of open space on the west side and on the east side. On the east, we tried to mirror what is happening on Main Meadows across the road, in terms of path, tree placements, things like that. We're trying to, get a good mirroring across the way. We've included several areas of programmable activity space. On that right side, we have a playground,
Can you point out where these are?
Yes.
Exactly? Thank you.
and I do have an enlargement of this coming up.
I've seen some of the pictures. Some of them are a little fuzzy for me to see.
So we have a top lot here with a picnic shelter here that has a charcoal grill. We'll also have a minimum of 3 picnic tables in the interior. The pathways lining here have multiple benches.
What kind of picnic tables?
What was that?
What kind of picnic tables?
We didn't specify, but a standard long 8-person, picnic
Wood,
table.
metal?
What are metal picnic tables? I don't think we've really specified that yet. It was just specified 3. I would imagine probably a standard wooden.
Yeah, probably means nothing. It's either is or isn't.
Yeah, we just specified, picnic tables. We didn't give an actual specification for that yet. The CBU units are here with a section of parking spaces that are off the emergency access, with bollards for, keeping people from going into the emergency access. This was to make a central unit that was easily accessible by all of the lots, while also giving it kind of a protected area for it to be. The fire department has indicated that they are happy with that arrangement, as long as those bollards are there to keep people from driving onto the emergency access. On the western side, we added another walking path through the open area there. There are several areas where there's benches.
I'm sorry, western side, walking path.
Yes.
Sorry, this is worth it for me because this is.
Oh, not a problem. Walking path right here.
So it does go, so that did go all the way down.
It goes all the way down
I see, okay.
to allow for a connection to the temple
That's a good question.
area, so it goes all the way to the parking, or to the
Property
property.
line.
Yes.
So it goes from temple to temple.
It goes from what?
It makes a U all the way around.
Yes.
On the east side.
Yes, yes. Along the path, we have several areas where benches have been placed, and we tried to carve out spaces for activity areas, using meadows and pathways and trees to kind of design a space that's kind of separated from the individual lot homes.
Since you're talking on the trail, just a quick question. How do you plan to connect to the north? Like, how would you get across to go to the schools or any of that sort of stuff?
The connection is on the east. Right here, there's a connection to the sidewalks that are here.
So you'd have to get to the power or to the.
Yes.
So it shall touch,
Sorry, say that again?
so it shall touch the paths to the.
Yes, there is a connection to the paths that are around this roundabout.
And it's all handicap accessible.
Yes.
You know, I wouldn't expect you to go any further than the roundabout. How about to the south there, to the, there's a trail across, that goes up the east side of
Yes.
Pine Road. Is there a connection to that or somebody to get across?
There is potentially connection here. Again, there's, connection up here as well, across that roundabout, and connections here if you want people to be able to
And
cross there.
there's gonna need to be some crossing lights and stuff like that to take care of that. I know the county's working on a plan to get lights and stuff up and down the road, Pine Road, to make it possible to get across there. So that's something you may want to consider.
Okay.
The little flashing lights.
Part of the reason why we designed the open space on that right side, on the east side of the property, to have the top lot and places for people to hang out, is to prevent kids from running across the street to the parking lot, or the playground that's right across the road. So by giving them the
I'm
safety net.
concerned because it's a 45-mile-an-hour
Yeah.
road, but you can drive faster than that.
Actually, it's a 55.
That's right, that is 55, that's 45. Yep. And kids think when the lights come on, they're okay, but they're not.
And your calculation for open space, real quick, could you go back?
Yep, sorry, I was clicking and it wasn't going. So our open space, we've separated out what is open space underneath the power lines and in ponds, and what is outside of that. So outside of ponds and power line easements, we have 15.15 acres, which is 24.8%, which is higher than the required 20%. Then we have the additional 7.74 acres that includes the ponds and the area under the power line easement. So this is just an enlargement of that eastern amenity area with images of.
See, that's a bench I can visualize, and so if the picnic table matched that, that would make sense to me. But you're not committing to it.
We've never really spec'd picnic benches, and I just don't think I really thought about putting one in there. But we can definitely get you an image of a picnic bench that we can commit to. On the bottom there, you can see our entry sign. The client wanted to go with something a little bit different than what is normally typically seen. This right here is a slab of rock that has the name of the development etched into it. That will sit here.
I kind of like that, but can you talk about the lighting of it?
The lighting, I don't, what do you plan to have lighting? Uplighting on it. Yeah, so just ground, like, uplighting now.
No uplights.
What was that?
No uplights.
No uplights. With like a strip light at the bottom. Right. Then it has to be downlight. Okay.
That's why I don't know how you do it, because it's very pretty, but.
Yeah.
But it has to be down.
Okay.
Maybe the signs go down.
Well, as long as it's down, but that's not size, it's down.
No, I mean come in from the sides pointing down.
It's not something that we've really specifically designed yet. I think that's something we look further into in final development.
No, it would be a divergence to go up lighting, so I don't think that should be a final.
Okay.
I mean, if you're asking for a divergence, I think it should be here, but I don't think you're going to get it.
Okay. I mean, I think we can, do you have any ideas of?
I mean, I have ideas of what can be done, but I mean, is it enough to just commit to providing lights that face down instead of up? Or do you have to kind of give it?
Yeah, you can just commit to that.
As long as it's down lighting,
We should do.
Okay. Yeah, then we can commit to that. We'll find a way to make it happen.
Nice at top, over top. Who knows?
One of the things that we dealt with that planning and zoning is they requested that we pre-designate certain lots as being side-loaded, required to have side-loaded garages. We are committing that there's a total of 22 side-loaded parcels, and they wanted us to pre-designate the first 11. So that's what kind of the yellowish color is designating the lots that are going to be preloaded. Those were the first 5 at the entrance. These right here. The Planning and Zoning Commission required us to put those as side-loaded, and then the others were chosen based on engineering and kind of grading.
may I ask you a few questions about that?
Of course.
So where did the number 22 come from?
It is 25% of the total lots.
Okay, and
That's not what's, not in the old one?
so, and let's see if my definition and your definition of side load is the same. So at least one of the garage doesn't face the street.
Correct.
So a corner lot, that means it's gotta go on the side, not to another street.
Yes.
Okay.
The driveway can come off of either road, but it's still gonna be on the side of the house.
It's going to be at least one of the garage's doors is not facing a street.
A street, correct.
Okay, so I just want to, again, some of these numbers have changed, so I just want to make certain I'm tracking what the current status is.
Yes.
Like, I have this document, it's exhibit 10. Exhibit 10 says 1.86 for a total of 89 lots. Clearly got rid of a lot, so
Okay,
we're
so
back
you're
down
looking
to-
at the.
So I'm looking at the
section.
previous version, even though it was a new exhibit, a newer exhibit.
Did you print off the incorrect one? Because there was a new development text turned in Monday.
Yeah, and I looked at that, and that's where I started getting into these questions about these numbers, because some of these, that's okay, I mean, it's going in the right direction, too.
Right.
So I'm okay with that as well. I just want to be clear that the most recent version that we have reflects everything that's being said here, because I think I also saw side load garages, you guys had initially committed 12, now you're committing to 22.
No, I'm sorry. What I think I'm hearing is that it's 11 in the first phase
Yes.
and 22 total.
Total.
Yes.
And then, yeah, that's my understanding.
Yes.
We may need to write that down to clarify.
Well, and it might be in the most recent one.
But it doesn't hurt to do with that.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly.
It
So-
should be written that way in the current text.
Okay. I'll look at it. So, notes there, get that one.
So what
And
I'm
here's the
hearing
current one.
is that you don't know where it's going to go in the second phase.
Correct. It will be at the developers, it'll be their responsibility to make sure that 11 more get.
And the first phase is this phase.
Got it.
It
Correct.
can't be the second phase switched.
Correct.
So it says, forward-facing garages shall not exceed more than 4 feet from the main body of the house,
Well, that's.
containing the front door, so long as the front porch extends to or further than the face of the garage. Additionally, a total of 25% of garages, 22 lots minimum, in the development shall be side loaded. 11 of the lots in phase 1 shall have been predefined as being side loaded. Refer to table 3, which is what we're saying right now.
And I'm okay, well, I don't know.
Do we need to say anything specific about side loading?
Well, as, on the second phase, I'm okay sort of with them picking wherever they want, as long as the definition that we came up with is maintained, where at least one of the garage doors faces no street. Because then they don't just pick all the corner lots and say, hey, it's a side load because it doesn't face one of the streets. And that's a compromise, because you guys kind of like the one that has one garage facing the road and one facing the outside. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Did you say you guys though?
I did say that.
That's not me. I wasn't sure you were speaking to me initially.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm okay with that. So, it's just doesn't matter how it plays out. So you have 11 predefined, so if you want a side load garage and you want that lot, you gotta match those two up. You can't choose a different style of house on that lot. It has to be a side load.
The ones that are colored have to be side loaded.
So then what happens if after that phase 2, you run out of all the other inventory and you have to meet this 22 number? So at that point, you would only sell those lots as side load?
Correct.
Okay.
May I ask a question that got made, Meadows, because you brought them up as an irritant to me. Where is your model home going to be located? Is
Sorry,
it-
what was that?
Model home.
The
I
model
assume you're
home.
going to have a model home.
We will have a model home.
Actually.
We have not redesignated where that will be.
Because what they did was,
And they said they made a mistake on this.
they did say that. But in here, they said it would be a side load, and it turned out to be a front load, then they went to the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
I want to know where the model's going to go,
Okay.
so that we don't have a front load and a one that's supposed to be a side load.
Understood.
Well, and then they would have to go to,
Well, all model homes.
well,
do
yeah,
have
they
board
do
with
because of
gates.
the, yeah, it's the outside.
Can be determined with the final development plan?
Well, what I want to do is have it certain that these do not are not available to go to the Board of Appeals to get it changed.
Right.
That a side load is a side load, and that's.
I do have a question as it relates to, so my understanding of side load is not what your definition of side load is, which is fine.
What's your definition?
Well, there's the front of the house where the front door is. Mine's not a technical definition. So
Is yours like, it's on the side, but it could be facing the street?
Correct. That was that's my understanding.
So how we've done that on some other developments is we didn't count the corners either for or against. So,
Okay.
because what happened was everybody was putting them on the corners, and that's why we got rid of that.
Gotcha.
Because they're not really side load, they're facing the street, which is the whole point, is so that you don't have garage door going down the road.
Yeah. I get that.
But I like this, I like the layout of these, and this also has come up in similar development plans around there where you have this more, it's a grander entryway into that development. So if you have the side loads on the entry street, prior entry street, it just, it allows the visual field to see more, where if you have, garages facing forward, it kind of cuts off what you see as you enter the subdivision.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it kind of gives you this, this line of sight that I think really opens up the area, which I think is what you guys are going for, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So may I ask on that as well then? Because I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that is making an assumption, and that is that the garage doors don't side face Pike Road. Otherwise, it's actually smacking them in the face.
So lots 1 and 45 need to have their garages west facing.
Yeah, 145 and
1 and 45.
Yeah, these two would need to face
Yeah,
this way.
that way, yeah.
These two would need to face that way, and this could be either way. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's up against another lot.
Correct.
well, 40, I can't really read that. Is that 44?
This one?
Yeah.
That's 44.
It needs to face to the south.
Well, this is,
Otherwise, it's facing a street.
Well,
No,
East facing.
not-
that would say like this lot would have to have it on the back because it's facing a street down here. Like there's lots.
No,
between
it's
it.
not facing a street, it's facing another lot.
Well, but this
That's
has a lot
facing-
in between it.
Yeah, that has a lot in between it. It's facing, it's the same concept as facing the other lot. So if it's to the east or the south, you couldn't see that garage from Pyatt Road because the other
But you
house
can
is
see it from
blocked.
Road A.
No,
If
no. On the east or the south, you can't see that
If you have a
garage.
house here and the
But-
garage comes in here,
Yeah, exactly.
it's gonna be blocked from this road by this house.
Or
and it'll
if
be on
you,
this side of the
and
house.
what he's saying is, or if you took it from the other corner on Road A, and
well,
you came in from there.
Okay, so you're saying that you would be okay with it facing 45,
Correct.
but not facing Road A.
Correct.
Not facing Road A, but it could face south. It could face south and you could turn in from Road A.
Yeah.
Either one is fine. Yeah.
Okay, so what is across from McKenna label? What road is that? I'm not seeing a name for that.
what's
Is that Road
this?
C?
This is just, I don't think
I was
it's
calling it
label.
entry.
entry or.
I mean, would it be an extension of McKenna Drive?
I didn't know.
Usually what we say.
Yeah, I didn't know.
People fight over that. That's between you and the engineer's office.
Yeah. I was calling it the entry road.
Because, yeah, they fight over that, because then it turns into east and or west, and then.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't care. I just want to know what we're talking about. So 2 can face 3 and 3 can face 2. Is that what you're also understanding?
Mm-hmm.
3's gonna have to face 2, unless
Well,
you're coming
I
from
can-
behind.
Right, it can face north.
Yeah.
Coming
3
from the
could
back of
face,
the house.
similarly with 44, it could face north or east. And 44 could face east or south. But I don't know that the engineer would let that happen because it's so close to that corner. It'd be like you come.
Well, in fact, didn't the engineer's office have, are you 100 feet away from the stop sign?
From the stop sign of Pilot Road.
On 145, are they 100 feet from the stop sign?
From Hyatt Road.
The stop sign on this McKenna extension?
You talking about a stop sign here?
No.
Here?
Yes.
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 And then I wasn't talking about, but then the other way, is 3 going to be 100 feet away from,
3 doesn't have to be 100 feet away from the road A.
it has to be from the stop sign, any stop sign.
No, I mean lot width. If you have a 52-foot or 60-foot lot on the corner, it can't be 100 feet away from the stop sign.
I thought that was engineers.
There's a intersection rule spacing, but not driveway, not residential driveway. Not 100 feet.
I know we thought about it in regional planning before.
You're right on Hyatt Road, you're right on, off of the county and roads, but not within the subdivisions, no.
Well, why would it be?
Because the speed and there's like the conditions of the ownership, all kinds of things.
Well, that's between the engineer's office.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into that yet with the engineer's office, but obviously we'll make sure we comply with
Because that
all the
came up in
engineers.
Dave Meadows too, when they
I know.
wanted that stop
I
sign.
know, and I thought they didn't let that stop sign be.
They didn't let that stop sign be, but it wasn't because of the 100-foot rule. They said it wasn't necessary. There's too many stop signs there.
All I know is that stop sign didn't exist. So.
Are we good on these lots and they can be side loaded?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay,
but I want to memorialize what we said.
okay,
well, that one faces,
So-
the way that they face.
right, so,
And then you have the
And we can
option.
do that when, before we vote on it,
okay.
if we get to a vote.
Well, so I have one more point as it relates to all this then. So 63 is one that I had mentioned to Sarah needed to be side load based on what my understanding was, because there's so many utilities here that it's going to have to come from here. And this is the lot depth and this is the lot width.
So here's my view on that. If you need it, that's fine, but then you have to pick another one that is a site.
Right. So that's what I was getting at. This can't be the required side load garage because it's not going to be the side load.
I don't have a problem with you doing any of them like that, any corner, but if you do that, then you gotta pick another one.
Right, so we'll have to, if this has to be defined and can't be changed before final development plan, we'll have to designate another lot today.
Yeah.
Either that, or you can say something to the effect of, if lot 63 cannot be determined to be a side load,
Well,
then
it can't be all as defined.
as defined, you can have a couple options of what lots you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
that would be good, because, yeah, right now.
I'm not trying to cause trouble, I'm just trying to stop.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Trying to beat the system.
I understand, and I don't want to back us into a corner where
Yeah.
I have to engineer something that I can't engineer.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And
Yeah.
I will say that we've had a number of folks recently come and say that the county engineer said that they couldn't after they got past preliminary. And this makes sense, but this kind of allows you to keep moving forward without having to come with a major minor change request to us.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Well, then, I guess I will think about it as we
Yeah.
proceed, and then at the end, we can make a couple option suggestions of if 63 doesn't work.
And like, just write up, you can just start writing the language of handwritten bullet points on the changes that we're talking about. I
Okay.
think you guys committed to metal benching too.
Well, we have the metal benching, it's the picnic tables. If you
Oh, yeah.
want something that matches,
Yeah.
then yes.
Yeah, if you could go at least that far, then it'll be. Is matching the right word?
Complimenting?
Compliment, you know.
So just picnic tables to complement
Benches.
benches.
Compliment. Because if you can't get the exact thing, you know, you can't get the exact same thing, but you want it to, I don't want the wood mixed with the metal kind of thing, you know, I want it to look nice.
And then
And I'm sure you do too,
If-
but
Yes.
the other one then that you would want to have language written out for would be this lighting on the sign,
Okay.
because it says there'll be no lighting, and there will be no street lighting, I know, but the sign lighting, I don't recall seeing the sign lighting written in.
Yeah, I don't think we had anything
Okay.
specific about that.
Yeah, so
So lighting for entry sign shall be downward facing.
in accordance with the zoning resolution.
We'd like for it to be downlighting, to put it on the sign. As opposed to up on it.
Okay, sorry, continue on.
Could we go on this for a second? I got a
Yes.
couple questions.
Sure.
What do you plan on the mailboxes?
The mailboxes are CBU units, and they're right here, next to this little parking area.
Is there parking spaces there for people to park?
Yes, there is 5
Handicap
spaces.
accessible and all
Correct,
that? And all the mailboxes for the whole development will be there?
yes.
Okay, and then if you look at the west side over there, on the, say, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, those people have to go a long way to get to the, park. And it would be good if there was a walking path that went from the west road to that inner road across to there. You almost got it.
I'm not sure I quite understand.
What I mean is, if you live in these houses here.
Yeah.
To get to here, you gotta go way around or,
Mhm.
to get to here. But you've got a property line here, these are good lots, and you could make it, just put a walking path across there, make it easy to get to mailboxes, make it easy to get to here, make it easy for everybody to be able to use that area, to get through that. Because right now, the only way to get there is to go on sidewalks. Did you follow?
I was gonna say,
This property line that goes across the,
Yeah, the problem with that is that, you guys require the 80-foot lot width to be at the right of way.
Mhm.
And so we have it basically perfectly spaced where there isn't any extra space. No, it's 80 foot at the curb. Which you guys have required of us in the past, so we just went with that. If you
The
want,
lot is still the same size as the easement across it.
it's something we can definitely
Even
discuss.
if you put an easement across there, then you'd have your 80 foot, but
Right.
it'd still be, you could put your trail across it that way. But these people here, all of them have a long way to go to get to here.
Mhm.
That's a,
So I guess that's-
especially if they're going, approaching a store or something. Or a wheelchair, or a walker, or anything. Go ahead.
The next few slides are just some images of homes that are kind of representative of the type of character of homes that we expect to be built in.
Mhm.
We don't have a specific builder yet, so this is really just a general idea of what we'd be looking for.
Are these houses gonna be built there, or are these typical houses that somebody puts up out of boat?
These are houses in area neighborhoods,
Yeah.
close neighborhoods to this development. And so it's just representative of the character of what we are looking for in the types of houses that we go on lots.
So can we get a commitment on colors?
I believe the text has colors in it.
Yeah, it did. And it had something about stucco too.
I don't really remember seeing that.
I don't remember seeing stucco.
No, I mean the colors.
Exterior colors is on page 1.
Yeah.
Says exterior colors of excessively high chroma or intensity not permitted. No more than 2 colors in addition to the colors of natural brick, stone, or manufactured stone. So I guess we didn't specify.
No, I have refer. Okay, let me see the right. No? Okay, yeah. Refer to exhibit tab E, exhibit 11E, which is these examples.
Yes.
Finished building materials shall be applied to all sides of the exterior. Colors of building materials shall be harmonious and compatible with colors of the natural surrounding and adjacent buildings and improvements. All facades shall consist of all natural material. Natural material shall be defined as brick, natural or manufactured stone, stucco, natural or engineered wood siding, or was this typo? Cement? Is this a brand of some sort? Cementitious?
I think it's just
Cementitious.
a weird version of the word.
Okay.
Cementitious. Yeah. Could be a typo. I don't know.
Adverb, an adjective. You adjectized.
No, I've seen it.
Cements. Okay.
Okay.
When I read it, I was like, doesn't make an
But
adjective.
to me, that's not a color.
Okay, sorry. With painted and or stained finish, the maximum amount of stucco allowed on any front facade shall be 30%. And then exterior colors of excessively high chroma or intensity are not permitted. No more than 2 colors in addition to the colors of natural brick, stone, or manufactured stone may be used on the building as a whole. Garage doors shall not be painted in contrasting colors to adjacent wall surfaces. They shall be painted to be similar in color to adjacent wall surfaces and trim.
Okay, but is pink allowed?
I would say that would be excessively high chroma, but
See, to me, if I was zoning inspector, I wouldn't know how to say yes, no. Is purple? Purple's a natural color if you hit a purple flower.
well, it said of the exterior materials like the stone and the brick.
Well,
Red.
is there purple stone? If you go to marble, there's some purple marbles.
What did we say in the other text?
It was neutral.
Neutral colors? We have like a standard thing
Yeah.
that we say.
This text was the exact same as what was written in Long Meadows.
Yeah, we're learning some things there.
And I think we refer to it also as very similar to other texts that we had.
I feel like in
Well,
Maeve, we said natural colors, but in,
well, I think it had this and. So, I mean, there's nothing that's in there that we read that's bad, but it's not just, if I sometimes, when we do this, want to put myself in the zoning inspector's place. Can I enforce this? Can I not? I don't know what's enforceable there. A muted pink, salmon, I don't know. But we've had like, tans, browns, whites.
well, for the business park, we definitely define the color.
And the reason, I'll tell you really why I'm doing this is because I felt like Evans Farm took advantage of this. But we approved it, and
What did we say? I feel like we said something like primary color Well, we're close on this text.
Yes, very
We're close on this text. Colors and building materials shall be harmonious and compatible with colors of the natural surrounding and adjacent buildings and improvements.
But if you plant a field of purple flowers, purple's fine.
Colors and building materials shall be harmonious and compatible with colors with what do we do for Berlin Business Park? Because I don't want to say it has to be brown and beige only.
I know, that's kind of weird.
Or like I don't want to say brown, beige, blue, gray. So I don't want to limit them in terms of a variety of colors. And then also, I guess, like if they wanted to have a, dark plum door, you know what I'm saying?
I do know.
Like, there's a limit to our ability to I think that we not maybe limit in terms of our zoning resolution, but limit in terms of what we ought to define as that material. Maybe we just say with neutral colors of the natural surroundings. Neutral colors of the natural surroundings.
I'm probably fine with that.
I think
I mean,
that's
to
the
me,
intent.
That is the intent for sure.
So then we could say purple's not a neutral color.
Well, if it's a muted purple, that's, like you said,
Well, yeah, it's like
but it's on the neutral side, so.
okay,
So,
neutral. So
because
put it
then it'll match with the rest.
and then
of the-
that's natural surrounding and harmonious and compatible with the colors of the materials.
So,
Neutral on that number 2. Page 1.
so are you putting that on your list?
Sorry, I'm contemplating which one's best, but
That's all. Sorry. I think that's everything that I wanted to cover.
So you said that there are no divergences being requested, correct? And that still is true.
It's true now, yes. We had requested before, but planning and zoning asked us to remove them, so we had, which was basically removing one lot.
Although they're planning commission, not planning commission, zoning commission.
Is that?
Yeah, we're not a city.
I get them all confused.
Yeah. There will be no street lighting, there will be sign lighting. I saw that the multi-use paths on the outside would be 10 feet.
Yes, the ones along Cheshire, yeah, are 10 feet. The interior leisure
Yeah,
paths
6.
are 6.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. The interior. The open space, can we go back to that really quick?
Yes.
Because there were different numbers, so I was just trying to understand again what that was. So it's 7 acres of the power line easement that you're considering as open space. But you
the
don't-
power line easement and the ponds are the 7.
Oh, okay.
And
And
7 acres, yes.
Okay. So, okay, so this probably, let me see, let me just make sure I did this math right. So you use total acres
Correct.
for the open space,
Yes.
but isn't our code the 20% of the net developable acres for the open space, which is a 12.
Well,
You take it from the 60 and not the 44.
Correct, so the 12.2 acres is 20% of 61 acres. I don't think that I read the code as being the open space was 20% of the net developable, but we should still be way over that if it is.
Yeah, and that's where I was trying to like just make
Yeah.
certain that if we're still over it, then that's great. But
We would actually be more over it. Because we still have the same number of acres,
But
because
you
the
would
net
have less.
developable, we haven't counted anything that's not counted in net developable.
Well, no, you do because don't you count the additional open space in the pond and the power line easement?
Right, but
That's
those are not,
developed.
that's extra. So
Okay.
we
Okay, so your
exceed the required,
baseline here excluding is 15.
yes.
Okay, got it. And that's really the number that we're working for.
Correct.
Because the other, yeah, okay. All right, it just, it comes, what's that?
Oh, it gets confusing when you.
Yeah, that's why I-
Add in all the extras.
Yes.
Hey, we're getting this, we're getting.
So it was 44 acres really that we were working with for net developable, right?
47.81,
47.81. And then it was,
12.2 acres.
that was what was required.
Sorry,
Yeah.
15.50.
Yeah. Okay. Here, this is what I wanted to check after. Thanks for indulging me. Sure.
It's gonna be about 33%.
Because that should be the number that it gets utilized for the open space for us. I'm pretty sure. We don't do open space if total undevelopable, total gross acreage doing. Yeah, so 30, 32, 33. And then in the back in the southwestern corner,
Yes.
it almost looks like, and I think, because again, multiple iterations
Yes.
going through it. Was there going to be a house on the,
Yes, that's
Well,
the
the
lot that was removed.
that's the lot that was?
Yes.
removed. Okay,
Yeah, the zoning board specified that we had to lose the lot at the cul-de-sac.
and then how large is the open space, the charcoal grill and the picketeers?
We didn't specify that differently, so it's as a part of that total open space A, since it's all connected.
It's pretty much the same size as lots 1 through 6. Like if you were to flip that.
That sounds about right.
Okay.
Probably a little bit more, actually.
Yeah, and
Because the width is a little bit more.
the trees. And then the parking space with the CBU units,
Mm-hmm.
is that, that's just your emergency access road there?
Correct,
That will never become a road?
correct.
Okay.
What is that acronym? The CVU units, is that what you said?
CBU,
CVU.
B.
CB.
as in
Cluster box.
cluster box units.
Thank you. Sorry about the interruption.
I'm not really keen on this emergency road.
I thought you were gonna love it, because
No,
that's one thing I hate.
I'm not really keen on this because I really think a bunch of people are gonna be like trying to use it as a railroad.
That's, well,
It's gonna be,
It's
have bollards.
I know, but
Well, we did a multi-use path on Guilford. And we have multiple pictures of Amazon driving down the multi-use path to kind of merge the new neighborhood. I mean, people are,
Yeah.
and it's not just there, so I'm coming in.
oh, you're fine.
Well, I really think it should be another road, because the number of units here, and, I
And be able
absolutely
to
hate
have
these
Cheshire.
emergency entries because there, I mean, we've got problems at Dale Ford Road, we got problems at the one at, safety issues at, Cheshire and 3Bs and K.
That would solve it for me, but I know that that's not what you guys can do, but you should look at potentially making that you have 88 units and
So we
one
have
access.
looked at that. We are not allowed to create a second road at any point. This was our only option to have that emergency access in the one entry point.
Now, why do you say that?
because of the county.
No, I want to hear the reason that the county says that.
I don't know the specific answers to what they said. Todd was the one who had the conversations with.
County doesn't like curb cuts.
What was that?
The county doesn't like curb cuts.
Yeah, but they're also.
Pine Road is going to become a county road eventually. And
Not that section.
And Pine is going to be a very, very busy road.
When we fix.
Oh, I
it.
Because it's going to fly from 36 to Route 7. I think we all know that, so it's no surprise.
Well, and this is kind of interesting as well, because, yeah, there was a very similar situation in Rockford. The Rockford properties on, what was that? Hollenbach and Lackey Old State.
Yes.
They had two roads, and it was a very similar situation. They had initially approved two roads preliminary. Then county said, no, you can only have one road. Then they created a road that accessed into a new subdivision in Orange. And that subdivision in Orange said, no, this is it's like 11 houses or 12 houses in the Orange. And so then the county came back and allowed that road to go in.
So they did allow it.
So they did
So
allow
they
it.
said no, but
So
then
there's
they said
precedence.
yes.
Yeah, there's precedence for this, and it's almost this identical situation where they initially said no because probably of the proximity to the roundabout too.
That's what I believe.
And they said that same thing about Hollenbach and Lackey Old State right down the road there, and they ended up allowing the second road. I mean, I think that would be better for your residents anyway, but then it would resolve the conundrum, the safety conundrum.
So,
Because in the morning, it's gonna be heavy traffic in and out of there.
yeah.
And especially if you're trying to turn left on the Pyatt.
And they said, well, there's traffic study said
Yeah.
no on the right turn, which, when I get to my turns, I have some questions about that traffic study. But because normally, if we were to approve something like this, we would require a stop somewhere. And the only other somewhere is to the property to the south. Because they're not allowed to go to the north because of the overpass. There's no way
No,
over it.
grass is supposed to end, before you get to the houses up there,
Yeah,
that are there now.
Right.
yeah.
So you require it to stub to an adjacent, potentially developable lot, right? There are no adjacent potentially developable properties, sorry, so.
Well, why can't
There's
it,
not potential.
why can't it potentially do the south if they sell that property, you know?
Except they're in the middle of building their temple.
People sell things in the middle of whatever. I mean, you can't predict. And, you know, we have to assume this property is gonna last a long time. And that property may not last a long time. So you never know. And it's just that we require stubbing or a second road. Because,
No, go for it.
because having dealt with the tornado on March 14th, you know, I'm liaison with the fire department, and we had an impossibility to get to certain places in those subdivisions because the road got cut off and there was only one access. Well, actually, there were multiple access, but it was cut off several times. So if you have only one access, and it was for weeks, okay? So I get the fire department can handle that emergency exit, but if all those residents have to go out that emergency exit, that to me is not real safe the way it's built.
A couple of the towers that went down were on that piece of property.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of them.
That's right. That's right, I forgot about that. Okay, well, how about look into it with the county, because this is County and Fire that
Yeah,
came
I
up
mean,
with this,
they're gonna dictate.
and see if, and you can bring up that very example, what was it?
Yeah, but here's the problem is, can I give you my
Yeah.
problem with your solution?
No, go for it.
They'll say, oh, can we do it? They'll say no. Okay, no. And it doesn't affect what they'll do, so they have no reason to really push for it. Because it seems to me like, to me, there's three solutions. One is stubbing to the south. One is making the emergency exit, which I think is the best one, but if the county won't, they won't. But if they might, they can. The best option is making the emergency exit a road. And the third, which is probably the least good, is doing something at the McKenna Drive intersection where it's a deceleration lane going to the south and to the right, to the left coming. To
That
the
doesn't
right.
solve your entry point.
I know. Well, it doesn't, for the emergency, you're right, it doesn't solve that issue. But what it does do is allows that heavy traffic to negotiate that more efficiently. So that's why it's my third choice.
But we still have to have a second access point.
Then we'd have to live with that, what's there, but I don't like that, but it would mitigate some of the issues.
In the morning, traffic can back up on that access road pretty bad from 7 to 9 or 6 to 9.
Well, at night now it is, and that's why I'm surprised when was the traffic study done?
Yeah.
And
Because starting when school started, Pike Road has had traffic I've never seen. I don't know if it's because of new school or what.
It's 5 in my tab.
Could be.
Well, the date on it's June of this year.
So that's reason, but it's not since the school opened.
The reason for the traffic backup is there'll be a lot of traffic coming out of this. Our road is going to get busier and busier. So getting out on the road is going to be a problem.
Well, so there'll be will be a northbound left turn lane into the subdivision, and the entrance road exiting onto Pyatt Road will have 3-lane width to allow for
So go ahead and
right turners and left turners going out.
I didn't see that in here. It's in here.
Well, it's county requires 3-lane width
I didn't
at
see
all
that.
intersections.
I did not see that
At
in
all
here at all.
entrances.
And did you just say Pyatt Road would have a left turn lane
Yes,
from Pyatt into the subdivision?
I believe, isn't that?
Yes, there's both a southbound and a northbound left turn.
It didn't soak into my head. Can you point that out to me?
Yeah, it's in the traffic study.
So, let's see.
Yeah, but there was some wording in that there was some wording in there that I did not understand, and maybe you can.
So, you go to page 9 of conclusions.
No.
So it says a left turn lane is warranted and provides the
Okay.
dimensions. for
I
the
guess
left
I
turn.
didn't take that as,
Yeah, those are the improvements that are going to be required.
Correct. Just for general information, the county requires all entrance roads into subdivisions to have 36-foot width.
yeah.
So it's wide enough to have 1 lane in, 2 lanes out.
So is that it's wide enough, but is it going to do that? Is it
Well,
gonna do
I don't know if they're gonna.
No, it's not, it definitely is not gonna be marked that way. It's a requirement, the county has required it, it says,
Correct, the county requires that width.
but it does not say in any of this traffic study that Because it only dealt with Pyatt, right? Pyatt and McKenna Drive from proposed site
Correct.
to conclusion.
Yeah, so this doesn't really.
I didn't see anywhere that,
So when it says a right lane is not wanted, what does that talk about?
That's
Which right from where to where?
Southbound Pyatt, right decel, turn lane into the subdivision.
So there's not a deceleration lane.
That's what the study says was correct.
See, I can see some rear ends happening.
well, that's the same issue at Maeve too.
No.
But
Maeve is different because Maeve is far fewer houses. And it's got a stub out, which makes it look like it's more.
Maeve connects into Howard
But my point is,
and
you
has
can
an
go
exit
out.
that way. Yes, you can go out another way, so that's true, but it connects to a lot more homes.
I get that, but that's how they got away with it, because they have another access out of the subdivision, and it was far fewer homes. Maeve itself.
What I envisioned when I was reading through this was that because of its proximity to, and I'm not saying this is a good reason, because of its proximity to the roundabout, that you don't end up having that, like people have described Pike Road as a drag strip. Like teenagers just go up and down, especially coming out of high school.
I just saw someone about 80. And I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
and so
kidding.
it's pretty regular that happens. And I didn't really think that was very well accounted for in this in out exit. But the thing is, Trustee O'Brien, that we can't get around the fact that even if they said, so let's say everyone agrees that the secondary entry and exit road is a good thing, and they would do it. If the county doesn't say that they can do it, then they won't do it.
I understand that. But if they say, can we do it? And they say no,
Yeah, but there's nothing.
Because it's easier
Looked
for
at
them.
pretty intensely at the beginning of this process.
When did that start? Was it a couple years ago? A year ago? Because this other stuff that's come up was in the last 6 months. Like the secondary entrance right off of Lackey Old State and all that. So I'm wondering if the county is evolving their perspective too.
Okay.
They said they didn't mean to take it away. But,
Yeah, that's right. They said they didn't mean to take it away.
and what they did was they moved it from being on Lackey Old State to up on Hollenbeck Road. And Hollenbeck Road is a township road right now, but that's going to become a county road. And so to have it up there versus down here, doesn't make any difference. It's still going to be a county road. And so putting it back out on Old State Road makes perfect sense. And what it does is it takes a lot of the traffic out of the Avon subdivision, which is an Orange Township, which the road connects down into. The road will still connect down there, but the traffic can mainly go out straight out to Old State Road. That's on the Pyle Farm. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I kind of have to see it to understand. I'm not a traffic engineer, so I didn't read the report and the study. All I know is Cheshire wasn't an option because of the overpass.
We know that.
Yeah, and then the proximity to the roundabout, they said that they would allow the emergency access drive, but not a vehicular, public vehicular access. That's the extent of my understanding of what the county's position.
You just gotta put pipes in and locks and stuff, and if you need to get in that way, unlock it, pull pipes out. Bollards,
Correct, and
that's-
that's what we're, yeah.
I know, but that's not what happens. I mean, it's like what happens on Guilford Road. I mean, because Amazon can go around those poles.
Well, so this is gonna have a fence coming up to it on either side also, correct?
Okay, and I like that maybe,
Yeah.
because now, the width of the length of our fire truck is, how is the berm for the turning radius for a fire truck? Because that's what we're really, and we're gonna get a bigger fire truck on order, so.
Okay.
Well,
The
how,
fire truck has to be able to fit through that
Right.
and actually turn in.
without crossing into the other lane.
So the fire department will do a review
They already have.
well, they have, but they will do it again when we do full engineering on it, and they will look at the intersections and confirm turning radii of everything, including the emergency accesses.
Okay. Going back to kind of all related, here, the green space of the pond from the emergency access road all the way around to the cul-de-sac down at the bottom, is that planned to be passive or is it to be active for green space?
Which section?
Are you talking about over here?
From the
The whole.
common access, or from the emergency access road, there, all the way around to the cul-de-sac down on the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, is that planned to be passive green space or is it planned to be active?
Well, the front section obviously has the tot lot and that stuff.
That's
That's
not,
active.
but it's just,
And then the back will have just the multi-use path for walking.
There are some
Okay,
benches planned along
here
here.
it is. My point is the houses around the outside, they all have access to it. But nobody in the rest of the development has access to it except at those two locations.
Because there's not, like, you would have to
Correct.
connect in at the only two spots and go all the way around to get to it.
I see.
So really it becomes like an open space for those houses that
So you may want to put a couple of trails that would allow.
a
connection.
walkway like between, let's say, 21 and 20, I can't see, 20 and 21, for example.
Just so people.
That would
can-
allow people from the middle to cut back
It's a
to
little
that.
bit of a lot. So you're suggesting a connection somewhere.
Yeah,
Some way for people to be able to get there. The only other way is to trespass on your neighbor's property, and hopefully they'll let you do that. But otherwise, for your neighbor that all live around there, they just walk out the back door, they're there. But for everybody else in the development, they have a long way to go.
Well, yeah, in some places you'd have to get to that spot, you'd have to like,
And they're paying to maintain it, but they can't use it.
I mean, there are full sidewalks, you know, on both sides of the road all the way around.
yeah, but just a cut way, like
Yeah, I
just like a
understand.
sidewalk cut.
But I mean, you're counting that as green space, and by counting it as green space, I'm assuming that people will be able to use it.
Yes.
And really, it's not accessible for the people that aren't backing up to it. It's just a long way to get to it.
You have room in between.
It would have to be the same idea he had before for the other one,
Right.
where it would be
I'm
easy.
just looking for ways for people to be able to get to the
Yeah,
stuff.
Enjoy the amenities they're paying for.
Hmm?
To enjoy an amenity they're paying for.
Yeah, because they're paying for taking care of the green space, they're paying for doing all that sort of stuff, but they have no access to it. Or the access is very, very limited. You know, if kids want to go out and play baseball or soccer or something in the green space over there, perfect place to do it, but underneath the power lines and that sort of thing. But you need to be able to get to it. And some old grouchy guy like me, probably would want to.
We did talk about those actually, and finally they have mentioned to have the, initially we have on the Cheshire Road only that pathway. And this was added after the discussion.
Oh, yeah, it's a great
Backside was
add.
not there first.
It's a good addition, for sure.
And I'm not saying turn that path into green space or home association. I'm saying make it an easement, that the homeowners association can use. If you got a 6 foot on each piece of property, doesn't change the setback, doesn't change anything. But people could get there, maybe want to plant some shrubs alongside of it or whatever, just to make it, so they got some privacy. But that would allow you to be able to have access to it. It's something, if you do it now, it's easy. If you try to do it later, it'll
right.
never happen.
Yeah, that has been discussed actually, but I don't know the feasibility.
I mean,
It looks great, it really does, but practicality of it's not so good. Practical use of it.
Like what about between 19 and 18? What's that, like
Yeah.
line I see?
when this comes where this comes in, doing one right
Yeah,
there.
what is that?
Well, so this is a leader from, that's calling out a deciduous tree.
Oh.
But, so the only thing, I mean, I think an easement a little bit on either side of the lot line would be okay, if that's acceptable to you. I mean, another option, and I don't know if you guys can change what planning and zoning said, but if we like put this lot back here and took out a lot somewhere in this line, we could make a couple of corridors through here.
Mhm. That's a creative.
Yeah, the answer is yes, we can.
Yeah. There are options.
I'm just looking for a way to make it accessible. And the trail that's on the south side of Cheshire Road up there, is that going to connect to the viaduct? Because I believe there's to be a trail across the viaduct. Typically, they do that. And the city has, when you get on the west side of the railroad tracks, there's a long trail that you can go a long way on.
Yeah.
And you probably want to make this accessible to that so that they can continue on across through there.
Well, I'm guessing that would be the county's responsibility because they now own this.
No, what he's saying is that it'll have a path over it,
Okay.
and just to connect to that path.
Right.
That's all he said.
So this is stubbed up to the property line where the county owns the property when they do theirs.
Well, but
That's
that's,
over.
But that's down at the bottom of the viaduct. The viaduct is up high, so you're either gonna have steps or something
so, yeah,
back and forth to make it accessible, or you can start back here, back at the roundabout.
You have to ramp it so-
Figure out a way to connect to what is going to be on the viaduct.
Yeah, I don't know what, I don't know if the county's got plans for this overpass yet. They do?
oh, yes, that's why they're doing this, is for that.
They're
Okay.
wanting to build it this time next year.
Okay. Well,
They may get it up before you
They
get.
got money, when you get money budgeted, you know it's happening.
so, I mean, that would require obviously coordination with where they're
Yeah.
planning to stub theirs at what elevation and all
Yeah.
that,
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I don't think trustee Bullard is asking you to stub it there, because that would be monumentally expensive to ramp it up there. But if it's more, to the edge of where the pond is, that would make more sense up to Cheshire Road, don't you think?
And if you could put a Y in it back there, or you maybe figure out some way to get there, is all I'm saying. And take advantage of it so that people here will be able to get across the tracks, and maybe even senior citizens might want to walk up to the senior center, or up to the golf course, or up to the swimming pool, or that sort of stuff.
So if I might be confused about exactly what you're asking for, but it sounds to me like maybe you're talking about bringing this in closer to the road that's going to be.
Well, not close, just connecting it to it.
Right, well,
It
yeah.
doesn't exist today, they can't connect.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we're showing a stub to this parcel, so I think there's a commitment to connect to whatever trail is coming from the west.
In general, the viaduct will get back to the road level about here,
Okay,
so it's gonna be going up.
okay,
From here to the railroad tracks. And they're working out and getting to the property between the railroad tracks and that sort of stuff. But there should be a trail across through there. And if we make some way to get there, maybe it's a trail here to get to it, or this has got a bunch of houses and
Yeah.
eventually there may be trails across here to get to it, but some way to get there. This over here is, there's a trail on the south side of the road and a trail on the north side of the road.
yeah.
Out here.
So, okay, now I understand what you're saying. Without having the plans for that, we couldn't show it on here. That was the intent of this stuff. The intent is to connect to whatever. So if theirs comes down and reaches a reasonable elevation to connect to here, we'll connect to it here. We'll connect to it wherever we need to
Well,
have that.
Should be able to
connectivity
ask the county engineer for the plans, take a look at it, figure out how to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they've got the plans now.
And here you need, an access point, so here, just so.
I don't think there needs to be access to the north there, but definitely to the
No, I think he's right.
Well, it goes straight to the retention pond. Why, if there was access between like 13 and 14, what is that accessing to? As opposed to if he had a few
No, I think
connectors.
maybe we're talking different things. I think trustee Bullard is just saying from about here to here,
Yeah,
not.
Oh, okay.
that's what I'm saying, to get across Cheshire Road, but if we put an access from the inner street there to get to that green space.
So you are talking about-
Yeah, that's what I thought, and I don't
People here will
agree
be
with
able
that.
to get to that trail to use it. But right now, the people who live in the center, to get to that trail, have to either go down to the cul-de-sac or the.
I agree with you on the center and having one to the
Mhm.
west. I don't think you need one at 7 houses later, though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And as long as there's something somewhere between 20 and 17, that those center folks going up can get through and access just fine, yeah.
So,
But I don't think there's a problem with it instead of between. You don't want them that close together, but if it were to the north, because these properties have to go all the way around or all the way this way, but if they only have to go like that, that's kind of a nice little.
Yeah, but if you go 3 more over and that's where it is, and that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's,
I think,
and then you go north and you hit,
I think either of those ways are fine, but what I do agree with trustee Bullard on totally is that it should connect to the Cheshire Road where it's usable, because where they're showing it, it'll dead end to nothing. That'll be construction site.
so
when they're
it will
building
say
it.
in final development plan, the path on the north of Cheshire shall connect into the continued path from the parcel to the west.
Okay. Which will really be to the north, but I'm okay with that.
yeah.
I'm just trying to make the big picture trails.
You better write this stuff down because you're gonna be here till 11. I'm just
And we
gonna.
can't work on anything else because this is a special meeting, so we'll have to see.
Oh, boy.
Or we'll have to come back on Tuesday.
Those aren't big things, but they're, in the long run, there will be big
Yeah.
things.
Well, so here's the problem with me writing it down, is I don't know exactly what language you're gonna need.
Well, I just said it, and that's
All right. I'm also struggling with the irony of having to walk a long way to use a path that's for walking purposes, but,
that's fair.
Kind of my perspective.
Well, I'm
To me,
thinking of
it's-
like little kids that wanna go play ball in an open space, because
yeah,
they don't have a yard.
right, no,
So,
I get
for them
that.
to
Well-
jump over.
Well, and the other thing is it telegraphs to the neighbors, this is not your backyard, this is everybody's common space. Whereas the way it is now, if I bought there, would say, hey, this is mine.
Yeah,
But if there's a path there, I say, well, it's mine, but it's not really. You know what I'm saying? It telegraphs something.
yeah.
And none of these properties are going to touch the water, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, because if they touch the water, and we've had a development where one of the properties touched the water, got no fence, people can't walk around the pond. They could go this way, but they can't go,
No,
and it's
there's,
because the property goes to the pond, and he did it on purpose.
there's
Okay.
a
Yeah,
minimum
well,
of 25 feet
Yeah,
between
so-
the edge of water.
Being able to get around the pond is extremely critical.
Yeah.
Just so that everybody's paying for it, so that everybody be able to use it.
Just one comment about the multi-use path along Cheshire Road. Right now, it's literally just the right-of-way line. Because there was the intention of connecting it, but we don't know where it's connecting. So that's how it ended up where it's at, is it's just on the right-of-way.
So what we.
Future right-of-way.
On the
but we-
other side of it. On the-
Correct, yeah.
But we just need to say.
No, I
More than what the
understand,
intent
yes.
is, but that it actually shall do this, but
Yes.
where it is
Yeah.
will be in the final development.
Correct.
So multi-use path along Cheshire Road, on the north side of the property shall connect to,
The multi-use path on the west side of the pond. somewhere to the west, anywhere to the west.
So I was trying to say, this part's going to connect to whatever the county builds coming down here.
Well,
But then,
okay.
so let's do this.
No, I'm not, this isn't, we give the feedback, they need to come up with the language and then either bring it back to us, because I'm not gonna sit around and wordsmith this for 2.5 hours here. I mean that, so you got this connector, you have one that's gonna go down Cheshire and connect in to the continued parcel, the continued path on Cheshire Road in accordance with the Delaware County design.
Yeah.
Then you have the other one that's gonna fall down into the Oak Ridge, and that's not gonna change. So nothing's changing about that one, so it's gonna Y out. Right?
I think so.
Okay.
So, for clarity's sake, the dotted line that separates the green from the not green, which goes into the center of the road, what is that what is?
This right here,
Yeah,
that's the existing property line.
so the
According to the-
roundabout is not right of way, that's actually owned by the county?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay. Because when I was county commissioner, we didn't do that, but I think they've since changed.
I like that idea.
I do too.
We have some land right now while doing this. We are given some land in that side of the road.
Good.
As a right.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else need to be included here?
No, that's.
I haven't started one yet.
Okay, I know, that's why I'm trying to get you going. All right, let's ask. We're at 8:30, guys. We gotta
Turn
get
the homeowners association over to the residents.
Because that's something you specified in the text. When is the homeowners association being turned over to, from the developer to the homeowners association?
Right now, the homeowners association is yours. And at some point, the houses are gonna get 75 to 80% built out, something of that nature. Want to see, put something down on the plan, that says the homeowners association will be put over to the residents at some point. I'm not saying what that point has to be, but I want to get it transferred, and something in the 75, 80% seems to be a reasonable place to do it.
Okay.
Once the houses are taken care of. And I'm not saying you're doing it, but some developers hold on to the homeowners association and use it as a slush fund. And don't turn it over for years.
Don't turn it over.
I think, and we have this, if you've viewed Maeve Meadows, I think we had that in Maeve of once the homeowners association reaches, it was 85% of the deeded ownership.
Not even, it was when it was,
80%?
no, it was 85, but it was when it was occupiable, there's a term.
Yeah.
Occupancy.
Permit of
Yeah.
occupancy. When 85% of the permit of occupancy was completed, the homeowners association is turned over to the residents.
So we don't use the same land.
Yeah, same language.
It's just common sense, but it's something that needs to be planned for now.
And unfortunately, there's been some developments where they've filed for bankruptcy and before the homeowners association is transferred over, and now the residents are in the lurch. It's not the intention, but we just want to have standardized language with it. I'm gonna murder this fly.
I remember the flash
I
lot.
don't have launch letters.
I had one in my office earlier today and get away from me.
I got one right here.
Yeah.
I might smudge my nose.
I think there's a fly swatter.
And maybe one of them,
Taking care of the flash lot.
trying to think.
thought I saw one here.
The,
If we didn't need one, we'd be tripping over it.
You want me to ask and then you come back?
there's something, I gotta do something with the county engineer on, it, which is, we want the quality of the signs improved so that we're not having to replace.
Oh,
it
yes.
as early as we're getting.
I totally agree.
That's not
That's
a
a county.
discussion for this, that's a county engineer.
Okay. So, in the discussion with, the zoning commission, you talked about the no mow or low mow. What I want to know is what areas are not mown regularly?
It looks like you guys changed your commitment on that in the last.
We did, so right now, this area here that's colored darker is a no-mow grassy meadow area. We previously had a section in here also, and the zoning board did not like that because they thought that these people would not like having that kind of meadow right next to their property line, so we removed
And
that.
everything else is mown?
Yes, everything else is standard maintenance.
Well,
Well, and the multi-use path have been there. It would make sense that you would be able to walk to it across the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am not in favor of that.
Okay.
And here's why. The, railroad has a problem with giant hogweed.
Okay.
And so I don't really want any non-mowed areas that aren't trees because the railroad will, you already have it on your property. I mean, I've observed it.
Mhm.
So if you don't mow that, you're gonna have giant hogweed everywhere and you're gonna have people get hurt. I don't know if you're familiar with giant hogweed. Okay, so it really all needs to be mown, in my opinion.
Well,
For the
all
health and
would
safety.
be mowed.
Pardon?
It would all be mowed occasionally, so the low mow is usually a two times a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. There's a standard maintenance practice for
Okay.
meadows.
My question was, what would be mown? So it all will be
It
mown?
all will be mowed, that, the dark green section is a low mow, so wildflowers, meadow grasses that are mowed usually twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring.
Well, I don't like usually, I like it specified because of the giant hogweed. It's not a limb of mine, it's.
So other green spaces that are not low mow shall be mowed at least twice a year.
No, that's the low mow.
That's the low mow.
Twice a year?
Yeah,
Is it low
so
mow?
low mow is for a meadow seed mix, that we did provide an example specification for. Typical maintenance is twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring. And that's to control weeds, and also to control woody growth, so you don't get.
Yeah, I get the woody growth, but here I'm not, that's not my main concern.
No,
My
I
main
understand.
concern is giant hogweed.
So we will have on final engineering, when we have a specific seed mix specified, we will include a maintenance plan with that seed mix that will specify exactly how they maintain that.
But I want something, because we won't see that, and I don't know if zoning, because we have to deal with this up and down our driveway. And it's a significant issue.
What if we said, final development plan shall include mowing maintenance for
The control of giant
the
hogweed.
control of giant hogweed?
We can do that.
Because this is a huge deal.
And I don't know if
And it's a
you've
very big safety concern.
observed it in the springtime, but your neighbor railroad only does what the railroad is required to do.
Yeah.
And, so it will go to seed before they spray it. And you will get it on your property, it comes on mine.
So final development plan shall
And
include
the farmers-
Scheduled for mowing scheduled for maintenance of giant hogweed.
The farmers spray the fields with insecticide and herbicides to get rid of the weeds, and but they grow on the roadway, right away, and they grow along the railroad tracks. And they're really invasive. The giant hogweed and the poison hemlock and those sorts of things are really, really bad.
And so this will commence upon not being agricultural or not being farmed. So, right?
Correct.
So we need that, because if you have lots there that are unsold, that aren't controlled and aren't mown, that's a problem. So that needs to be in there,
Yeah,
because
no.
this area is very, you
Yeah,
just
that-
have to
that's
control, because
small.
once it gets established, you know it's a real.
Yeah. Just as kind of a aside, if we were to determine that that was just regular turf grass instead of sticking with them, you guys still wouldn't have a problem with us
As
just
long as you
changing that.
can mow it more often. not a
Yeah, I mean,
problem.
everything else is standard turf grasses that are known on a
I
regular
don't have a
schedule.
problem with that. In fact, I prefer that, but you don't have to do that, but
So we can either give you guys really specifications with, very intricate instructions on how to control the giant hogweed,
Yes,
or we can turn it into.
and it's a maintenance plan for controlling giant hogweed to begin upon approval of the final development plan.
yeah, but
Is that what
if
you're
it,
getting at?
well, it's still agriculture, like trustee Boris says, they're spraying it and it's being taken care of. You know, they don't have to mow the corn or the wheat or whatever. But if it's starting to be developed, that's when it's the most dangerous, you know? You've got this lot sold, that lot not sold, and, you know, it kind of goes to weeds. No, that's not okay, it needs to be mowed. But if it's agriculture, so it's not really, it's whenever it's no longer being,
Used for agricultural purposes.
yeah.
And I don't know what the rules are underneath the power transmission lines, but the transmission lines are on a easement through the, usually it's going across farm fields are sprayed, it's taken care of. Like, there's gonna be some rules around how you have to take care, under the power lines.
Yes.
Because, you know, New York got shut down, was it 10, 15 years ago, really bad. The whole East Coast did, and they blamed it on the not mowing in Ohio. Was what caused the not mowing, trees grew up, got shorted out, line sagged, and took out the whole power grid.
And that's another reason why it would be no mow instead of no mow, because no mow allows woody vegetation to grow, whereas the intermittent mowing of a low mow controls any woody vegetation from growing.
And I know that the federal government put standards for the power transmission lines. The distribution lines that go around the neighborhood, they've been paying a lot of money, and you see the asphalt tree people, they're all cutting the trees under the power lines.
Yeah.
Not the telephone lines, none of the other stuff, but the power lines are.
Yeah, no, we have no woody vegetation underneath, actually in the entire easement, not just underneath the power lines. And it will be controlled, and they generally, when we've talked with them, they've said as long as it doesn't go over 4 or 5 feet and it's not woody vegetation, it's fine. So a low mow area, they're happy with that.
Mhm.
And then the rest of it is just maintained as turf grass.
And when the tornado went through, it took out a couple of the towers there, and the lines came down on the railroad tracks and shut down the trains. So the trains were shut down for a long time.
And that's why we couldn't get to the places, because the train
That
stopped
was
the
a
road. and then-
absolute nightmare.
Sounds like it.
There wasn't any emergency vehicles moving, or any other vehicle.
And we had emergency alarms going off because of the tornado, and we couldn't get to them.
Next question?
Okay, so you got the wording on that going.
I've got it going.
Now,
Thanks, Matt, for doing that.
on the 15.15,
Yes.
can you go to that slide again and have that? So are you committing to providing open space excluding ponds and power lines to easements of 15.15? And if that doesn't happen, it's a major change.
Sure.
So if you could memorialize that as well. Because what has happened in the past is, you probably have heard my Oldfield
saga every time I bring that up.
I'm not sure I heard
So
that.
it's,
There-
if the open space is reduced below 15.15 acres, it shall be considered a major change in the development plan.
Can I request one possible option for that though? The county has not officially, to my knowledge, requested the exact right of way along Cheshire. So if
Isn't that under the easement for power lines?
Well, so right now, we're showing it here, which is
Oh.
proposed right of way based on what they acquired on the north side of the road to mirror that. But they have not given us the official right of way line they're requesting. So if they come in a little bit farther, we're fairly certain they're not going to.
Yeah.
But just in case they do,
It would be a major change.
it will be a major change regardless of.
Well, what he's saying is, you're talking about less than 0.05 of an acre probably here. There.
Okay, let's say this, make it 15 acres.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Because what happened at Oldfield was they knew that they had to do an additional pond, but they gave us the specifications of beautiful park. Had lots of ditches, had lots of trees, had enough structure,
It's now in their pond.
and that didn't happen because.
So if the
because
provided open space excluding the ponds and power line easements.
Or below 15 acres.
So we need another pond that needs to go underneath the power.
There will be no pond underneath.
Are changed to below 15 acres, it shall be considered a major change.
So the provided open space.
But excluding the ponds and power lines, yeah. And I mean, you may get more back too, because the ponds might be smaller.
Yeah.
It's possible, but
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And that's fine, I get that. But what I don't want is that it expanded and you already knew it. Because they already knew it, but they said, oh, the county made us do this. Well, yeah, the county made you do it. We knew you were gonna have to do it. So, but anyway, okay, so you're memorializing that. Now, can you talk about the amenities, the timing of the amenities and the pond treatments?
The amenities are included in each of the phases in terms of the pathways, the shelter, so that eastern portion of the shelter and the playground, that will go in phase one.
Okay.
And then the improvements along in the west open space is part of phase two.
Okay.
And that should be included in the phasing plan.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I'm not sure about the ponds. Are they,
Right.
yeah, in phases, how are the ponds being built?
We're talking about the fountains and the stone facing.
So I'm going to pond B, the pond here something will have to be built in both places with phase one. We will not require all of the detention that is provided by each one of these with phase one. So it could be a portion of each is built with phase one and then they're expanded with phase two. But
Okay, so.
we haven't gotten into that part yet.
Okay, so, but we have fountains and stone facing on the inlets
Yes.
and outlets?
Yes,
You got that from?
that's in our text,
Can you remind me of how tall the,
10 feet.
okay. And is it 3 as shown there, or how many is it?
3 what?
Fountains?
Yes, 1 in the bottom and 2 in the top.
Okay, so, because I want it, but I don't really want to cause you head, well, we want it to be built. Okay, so here's a possible suggestion I'll ask the board, because you've never heard this, but it's something you can do. Because the zoning inspector has a hard time saying, yes, it is, or yes, it's not supposed to be done. But all the amenities, including
replacing the fountains and the stone facing shall be done no later than before it's turned over to the homeowners association. Because what's happening is that, the builders aren't doing it, and then the homeowners association is gonna have to get stuck building these fountains and the stone facing. So this way, you can't build that 85th percentile house, or you can't have it occupied,
You can't have a permit of occupancy.
unless all the amenities are done. And by 85%, I would think you'd have it already done anyway.
Yeah.
We did do something like that.
Similar to what they did across the street. The amenities are in, around the park, trails are in,
Because of
all that sort of stuff, and they're not
did it
built
I
out.
for-
haven't done it all.
Yeah.
We know you don't want to put it in at the beginning, but we do want it put in by the developer, not left for the homeowners association to figure out how to do it.
So all amenities.
Homeowners association can't agree on anything.
Including
All
fountains.
amenities, including fountain, inlets, outlets, pond,
Completed before we turn it over. to
shall be
us.
completed before.
And because it shall be before it's turned over, you have to do it by the 85%.
Well, but so
They're gonna do it before that, 'cause,
I know,
mean,
but let's say,
so this doesn't supersede your previous commitments, it just adds.
yeah, it's additive, but what if they don't want to turn over the HOA? And so,
Then they can't sell the last 15% of their.
well, they can sell them, they can't have a permit of occupancy, but they technically can get a permit of occupancy without the zoning inspector in their meeting. Like,
But
they
they
would
would,
have to-
but they would be in violation of the zoning code for not doing these little things.
Correct. But they wouldn't stop, like, the county wouldn't stop providing
But the zoning inspector has a date, you have to do it by this, whereas it's now, it's kind of nebulous, you know?
Where we're coming from on this is we've had the amenities not get put in. The residents all come to us and say, why did you let them do that? You know, and so we're just trying to be proactive and not have to deal with the problems in the future. Sure.
Because if they go bankrupt like the other one, they still have 15% of loss they can pay to do this.
or even if they don't go bankrupt, but they don't give it over, and then the HOA needs to pay for the cementing of the inlet outlet.
Okay, next item. So you said the trails go from the property line to the property line. So if we can memorialize that.
Which trails? Along Cheshire and Piat?
All trails,
Aye.
all trails abutting to the property line shall go to the end of the property line.
Okay. Yes.
Because what has happened in the past is they go like 6 feet short. No.
Mostly I was just thinking about the one on the west connecting with the one on the north.
As long as it can.
So that's why I was trying to-
But what we're not, because right now it's kind of dumb place for goes, and you don't want it to go to nowhere, that's my whole point.
Yes.
I'm opposed to well, trails that go nowhere.
Trails nowhere, and trails that aren't used.
And trails
This
that
will
are
be
used.
very used, though.
I think it
This will
actually,
be-
I think it will
It's a
actually
huge-
be very useful for a variety of reasons. People want to go to temple.
It's a really nice
people want-
amenity.
So I haven't talked about anything that I like because you already know the likable things.
If you don't say something against it, we know you like it.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yes, and this I don't know how to solve. You know, in Orange Township, there was somebody who died in the pond and they didn't find him for several years.
No, never heard about it.
There was a policeman's son in Powell, and they searched the entire world for this poor kid. He was in the bottom of the pond. So,
He was, drove into, I think it was one out, Orange and,
South Wilkeston.
Orange and South Olsen. Drove in and the tracks were in the grass, but nobody paid attention to them. But he drove in, the car went down in, and they searched all over everywhere. Couldn't find him.
So, you talked about fence, but is it a kind of fencing that'll stop a car from going into because otherwise, what I see is actually more effective than a fence is trees, because trees will stop somebody if they're big enough. So, what can we do with the landscaping that the county will allow that's, not in the right of way and for safety reasons?
So you're saying from,
Not for landscaping reasons, but for safety reasons.
right, you're saying from the main roadways.
From any road, whether Cheshire or Pyatt, yeah, I'm not talking about,
I think it's really the corner of Cheshire Pike.
well, when it's icy, and you've got a little bit of a hill there, in the southern part of this property line.
So there will be a ditch in between the road.
Yeah, this kid. And so, you're not gonna talk me out of this, I'm just
Well,
trying.
I am letting you know that there is something, so I'm not saying it's everything you want. I'm saying
Well, and I'm talking safety here, I'm not
Yeah.
talking, I would like it to look pretty because you want it to look pretty, but that's why I kind of like trees as opposed to a substantial fence that will really stop somebody. But I think you get my safety issue here.
Yeah.
So, and I said I didn't know if you could address it, but how can you address it?
I mean, you probably could address it with
Because the
fencing.
ponds belong to the homeowners
If you
association.
did like
Right.
metal,
But some of them are ugly.
I know, but if you did like metal posts and then you did like white vinyl or something covering it and did like split rail or something like that. Because then the posts would be what would stop the car.
Because you're talking 55 miles an hour, and people will go 80 on 55.
Okay, so ODOT has a very set table for what the clear zone is.
Yeah, and you got the example of Orange Township, so
Okay.
I
Well, I know, but that's coming down off the hill straight into the pond as opposed to more of a ditched and flat area.
no, it was,
I thought it was the southwest corner of Orange.
no, it was actually, do you know where Dr. White used to live?
Sorry.
He's the one that sold, was actually in the zoning, but, Dr. White's is now being developed just now.
Okay,
And it was the pond to the, north of Orange Road to the west.
okay,
It's the one that, it's got a big wide fountain in it, or a waterfall in it.
yeah, okay.
And the car was right from the waterfall.
But anyway, so what can we do here?
Well, my question first is, what has, so like, the temple to the south, they have a pond basically just mirroring our pond being, and there's other ponds in the area. What other things have they been putting into place, or have you
Trees.
asked them to put in place? Trees. Are you, like, are they putting just like a solid row of trees on each side, or just?
No, it
Like-
actually varies, but
I like to your point with the temple pond, like maybe a few trees on the south, but I'm less concerned about the traffic pattern for that one than the
I
one in the upper corner.
concur.
And so that one on the other, or where is it at? Across the street from Grace Point?
Oldfield.
Yeah,
Where they
Oldfield.
put the pond, it shouldn't be there.
So there is,
Sycamore trees.
yeah, they did sycamore trees, and then I think, don't they have a little rail that goes?
They do, but it's not as substantial as what I would like to see, but yes, they did sycamore trees.
And maybe too, the county could also help with something in that capacity for the road as well.
Yeah, but guardrail's not gonna be pretty. If it was natural.
But we're talking
trees-
safety, we're not.
Well, right.
community, and
Right, a guardrail would work. It would meet my needs, but
I doubt, I mean,
A
this is just
guardrail-
about me being pessimistic. I doubt the county's gonna do anything just because they're probably not gonna view it as a safety issue with the property.
I know, I fought with them over it.
Well, and since they probably argue too that they've addressed it with the roundabout being put in.
Yeah, but here's the problem with the roundabout.
Well, they could fly over it.
Well, okay, why roundabouts are liked by the county engineer is because you don't get T-bones, you get side. But a side is exactly going to shove them into the pond. It won't be a big crash, but it'll be shove them off. And
Into the ditch.
and we both have gone through there and there's ice on that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And there is, and
We've slid on ice, both Trustee O'Brien and I, at that exact roundabout because there's a little stream that doesn't drain right.
it's where the pork chop is. And
So
so,
what can we do?
South.
Probably not do anything about
well, because they won't, but it's right
Yes,
It's about-
right
it's
there.
right here.
Oh, okay,
And then the ice goes this way.
Yep, and the ice goes that way.
And so,
okay. So this is where the pipe outlet is for this northeast corner that's gonna go this direction, actually, it goes up to this corner.
It's gonna go that way down to the McNamara ditch.
Yeah,
The one down here is gonna go down to the Manor ditch.
yeah. So this is gonna be,
Claim is that it's all of it.
this is gonna be the deepest part of the roadside ditch on the backside, plus we've got a pretty substantial amount of grass here with a fence, but
Well, talk about the fence then. You have that fence there. Maybe you can do something to reinforce the posts of the fence and make it look aesthetically pleasing, but address that safety issue.
The most dangerous part of that pond is up where that break is in the trail. Where the cars are coming south, around through there, around the roundabout.
Yeah,
right here.
yeah.
In that area, there's the most dangerous area for the cars. Because everywhere else, they're gonna be headed away from it.
So what kind of fence are we proposing, like a split
It's
rail?
just a rail fence. And it doesn't go up that far. It stops before the roundabout area.
Oh,
So it
okay,
actually, the fencing, it's just decorative and it just goes to you.
okay.
I
so
think
if you could have
I
some
think it might go there. but-
larger caliper trees there,
Yeah,
I think that,
planting with larger caliber trees could address it.
and you could pick what kind of tree, well, no, I shouldn't say that.
So this is the area you're most concerned about.
Yeah,
If we just filled in some trees and maybe made these a little bit larger to start with
yeah,
that
but move your finger over a little bit to a little, yeah, from like there over, yeah, to there, yeah,
So just on this corner.
yeah, pretty much.
I think that that's a good solution.
It's just that corner, because the rest of us could go along the side of it.
I mean, I appreciate your other
That
concern,
corner,
but that's
you're going
not,
right
that
at.
doesn't seem as, because of the trajectory.
If I get a compromise, I've got something.
Okay.
So larger caliber trees.
Yeah, larger means defined.
Yeah, for sure.
Usually we do 2 or 2.5. I can't remember what your code says.
But it needs to be a tree that, like the sycamores, that grow. I'm not saying sycamores, but
No, I mean, generally for trees like that, we're gonna pick very large street tree type, which are usually sycamores or oaks or elms, things like that, that get big and are hardwood.
yeah.
So 2.5 inch caliber.
I would go 2.5 inch.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be one.
2.5.
I'm happy.
It's a good point.
But then-
Because we haven't dealt with one of those in a while, and it's kind of busy.
But now we need a number because it's two is not going to do it.
Yeah.
No, I mean number.
Number of trees.
Yeah.
That's 3. An additional 6 trees.
I don't think that.
That's a pretty standard.
And then spaced in a way that,
Is meant to,
spaced in a way that's meant to stop any cars or vehicles from going into the pond.
So will you be taking out those trees? just
Horrible
besides.
sector.
We'll just be adding an additional 6 around.
Or 6 units.
And we'll just evenly space them.
Yeah, but evenly spaced, so a car can't get through it.
Well, you have to be careful with that, because, I mean, cars are not that wide, but if you put trees that close together, they're not gonna grow very well. They'll compete with each other.
Right, understood.
I mean,
But if you, because you know the traffic way and where they're gonna hit. to the
Yes,
side.
like, you could have it doesn't have to be spaced this way necessarily, you could space it diagonal so
Or
that.
curve.
I see what you're
See,
saying, okay.
if it's like, your distance from the center of each tree might be 15 feet, but it's, for the pattern of
Yes.
traffic, it's only
Yes.
5 feet or whatever, right? So,
Understood.
doing it like interspares.
So designing it in a way to
For safety.
protect, for safety.
Yeah, and you allow the tree to maximize its growth, so.
And one thing, this is just an FYI, the Hyatt Road along there is extremely flat. And so about the middle of the pond, down to the south, up to the roundabout, there's about 6 inches of fall. I mean, it's not a
Both
foot.
sides is pretty
It's
much
not a
that.
foot. It's just like this, and so it stands in water, and we've had great difficulty in trying to drain the water off of that side of the road. There's a little bit of a ditch there to help with it, but that area is just flat, just like this table.
So with the left turn lane going into the subdivision, there will be road widening on Hyatt. And it'll have to be to the north, up to the roundabout, likely all the way to the roundabout, depending on what
Well,
the requires, but it will include ditch improvement.
half of the water will go north and half of the water will go south,
Okay,
But you'll have to deal with that.
yeah, that'll be
which
part
it
of it.
does now. But, there isn't much slope to it at all. I'm doing this, but it's,
Right,
That's why the trees become important, because of the way the water goes, but you'll do that in engineering.
we mow the roadside along there, you gotta be careful with, if you get just a tractor rut across through there is enough to create a dam for the
Yeah.
water to just sit there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it would be that way, but
Drainage to the.
that section of the road is really flat.
Those trees there. It's not gonna mess with the drainage.
no, I mean, we're just gonna have to make sure there's room for it, because there's a pond, and then there's going to be a ditch. And we've got the path, and of course, the pond has to have
You're gonna have,
embankment, and then a 15-foot maintenance berm for the county.
Right.
So,
you're gonna have a lot more slope, because the water level on the pond is gonna be down. So there will be, detention area, so you can slope into that. You got plenty of slope on it now, but when you get that built, but right now, it's just a.
oh yeah,
And if you look at the cornfield, there's a section there where the corn goes out, comes back. And the reason it does that is that water, it just stands in water.
So those are the issues that I have. If you address all of those, I have to say, I actually like the development.
so can we jump back to, sorry, like I said, I'm a horrible secretary. I don't write super fast. This one or two back about the trails abutting the property line must extend to the property line. Okay.
I don't think we've brought up anything that's very expensive in the whole thing, but it's just things that will make it a lot better as the development goes along.
Yeah, I think that you did a decent job, so we didn't have to say no.
Yeah, I appreciate you referring back to some other comparable language too. I noticed that in this, and it just, like the CDUs, if we don't have to spend an hour talking about mailboxes, like that's phenomenal for us. Because we have the waves and you really did a good job on the design on that. I don't know that we addressed this easement between these properties at all in writing, but
Well, they were gonna do that.
yeah.
Do you wanna recess and then have time to actually?
Recess till Tuesday?
I don't know how long you need, because usually, quite frankly, usually you guys write them, then we look at it and say, well, that's not exactly what we said, and then it goes back and forth. So if you need time to get it right, because you can.
Yeah, what do you need?
Look at this.
Yeah, well, can we take a few minutes to confer?
How long?
Hopefully not long at all.
10 minutes?
I hope less.
Okay. Is that okay?
Well, the thing that's important to me is to make sure that it's in the plan. And the reason for that is, I know you plan on developing it, you guys are going to go forward with it, and all that sort of stuff. Probably not gonna have any problems, but it seems like every development goes through an owner or two, at some point in life, and the plan has to cover everything that we're agreeing to. And we're agreeing to it, but it's gotta be written in here, because that's what will get sold if it gets changed, removed, or any of that sort of thing.
Understood.
Things just happen, but that's what we want it to be and covered very carefully.
If you guys don't think you can get that language in the next few minutes, we should recess, because I'm not trying to stay here until 11 on a Friday night.
Well, so I think I have everything covered except for I need to finish two different notes, one of which was basically picking a lot or two that are optional if that one doesn't work out for side level. And the other one was making sure we had acceptable language on the maintenance and prevention of giant hog.
Okay, that's
And,
nice.
and you've already got the wording for easements to get what trustee Blue wanted for between the houses to get back there.
No, that's,
If you would like, we could table it for 2 weeks from now, and that gives you plenty of time to get it done, gives you a chance to get it done, get it to us, let us view it, and then be done with it in 2 weeks.
Whatever you guys want. I mean, we can, I can wait a couple minutes now too. I can wait a couple minutes now too if they want it done, but
Either one,
I just don't wanna.
I'm just putting it on hold.
So we're gonna take a short, we don't even need a break because we're not.
No, schedule
We don't need to take a break because this is our only thing. So unless,
I agree with what you're talking about.
sisters,
Not that.
Bronze I had was less than a minute left,
oh, yeah.
1714.
Are they Hannah?
Yes. The interceptor.
Another team? Oh, nice. I could also continue it Tuesday, Ron. We could also continue it for Tuesday, like,
Well, it's just a short meeting, Tuesday.
Oh, that's right.
but But maybe if we met at 5
Okay.
to hear and continue this hearing, recess and continue this hearing
How
until
much
5
time
p.m. on
do you
Tuesday.
Because we could have that as being a special one or later in the hearing, like 30.
Yeah, if we wanted to, but I agree. No one,
Let me see if you got a spreadsheet.
spreadsheet, okay.
Spreadsheet with the list of properties. For the,
Not,
PWC, no,
Oh, no, what, no, it was, it wasn't part of this, it was on the table.
it's not bad. Have you got it, Ken?
I'll look.
Is 2 weeks okay? Is that okay?
or we could do Tuesday,
Or Tuesday?
We would like to go ahead and table for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That will give us time to make the language right, make some corrections to the plans, resubmit some updates for you. Put everything in the text that we want in the text, and then come back.
If you got any suggestions to change the text in between before coming back.
How about this, because we're not allowed to discuss and deliberate anything outside of the meeting. But if you sent it, I guess who's more of the,
You're a wordsmith.
so if you send it to me, I will send my feedback on the text, so that will be.
But we can't round robin.
But we
because
can't,
that's not
yeah,
legal.
we can't go around and you get all of our feedback, but I'm probably, in the end, the most critical, so.
Somebody's eyes on it.
Yeah, so you'll have at least one round, and then that way it will go quicker, 2
Okay.
weeks. So what are we looking at as far as that date? That would be, is that November 9th?
25th.
Well, no,
Next meeting is the 12th, and then after that's the 25th.
25th. Would the 25th be okay with you all? November
I'm
25th?
looking at the wrong, I was like, 25th.
I know,
That's a weird
Christmas.
day. Yes, I was looking at the wrong one.
Monday, okay, so that's Monday, right before Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, are you guys, is that okay for you? And we could do it at,
Well, do we have anything on it?
do we, I don't think we do. Do we have anything on it?
I don't believe so, no. Not yet.
You're gonna be the only one again?
No. No. And
Should we do it at 6 p.m. though?
we should either do it early or we should do it late, because otherwise we've got all these people here and we'll go into a hearing and then,
So like 5:45.
and then my thought is either early or late, but
I like the idea of early so that those who, if they are coming for this, can be there for that and don't stay till our agenda concludes, which is usually close to midnight. Are you okay with 5:45 on the 25th? Okay.
5:25, should we do
Go ahead, Strauss.
Okay. Move to recess and continue
so? The applicant's report.
at the applicant's request, BZC case 24-006, preliminary development, 7 Hills of Berlin, to date, time, place certain of November 25th at 5:45 p.m. at 3271 Cheshire Road.
second.
Call roll, please.
Fuller,
Yes.
Rail,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes. I move to adjourn.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Rail,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Fuller.
Yes. We are adjourned.
Who moved
So,
and who second adjourn?
O'Brien moved to adjourn. I moved second.
Got it.
So you won't be the only people, but you'll be among the first, since we'll start at 5:30, and hopefully that means.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
And then midnight.
And hopefully you have everything so that we can move quickly. Because I noticed that usually, or it drags on.
Yeah.
If you get ticky-tacky on the language, then we'll get ticky-tacky on the language back.
I'm pretty, yeah, I feel pretty good with that.
I think we're good, but until I see the
Just in
words.
case.
Thank you all.
We'll try and get something on you next week. So you guys have plenty.
You can send it to all of us, but I'm gonna be the only one that is dialoguing.
Do you want physical copies of everything or just an email up front?
I don't want another whole book, but
We would just bring what's changed, like we usually do.
yeah, I'd like that in physical.